There is no denying the beauty of the NES power that took the 80s by storm. I first played this game. Now there's a story behind this amazing game. Was actually my auntie that was babysitting for me. We were round at her friend's house. He had it for Christmas. Now my auntie is 10 years older than me, so I would have been about 6 at the time, putting her about 16 as well as her friend. His copy of California Games was wrapped, so he snuck into the house. All together, his parents were out. We unwrapped this copy of California Games on the NES, played it in his bedroom, and then rewrapped it like nothing had ever happened, and we bolted out the house. That was my first experience of playing the Nintendo Entertainment System way back in the very late 80s. So I thought it very fitting to show you my 78 game NES collection. I'm not going to show you my consoles. I've talked about my signed console that I got when I interviewed Masayuki Umera, of course, the designer of the NES. Rest in peace. What a beautiful guy, a very mild-mannered guy. I'll link the interview in the cards if you want to watch it. And I'm not showing you anything like that. We're just showing you all the games, which include boxed as well as unboxed. We're going to be hyper-focusing on them. And please feel free to share some of your memories, because this is a very special console. It's the first Nintendo console that I played, and I don't give it enough attention. So without further ado, we've got 78 games. Let's do this. A very special release came into my collection recently with the Mario 3 Left Bros. This is a first print released in North America only. Managed to snag myself this copy for 35 quid only, but box complete you can look at 200 quid. Very hard to find in the UK, but if you're very vigilant, you can find one that drops on eBay from time to time. I have never seen a Left Bros out on a retro game hunt, whether it be at a market or a retro game shop. So you do really need to focus online with this one. Another famed memory of mine was playing Kung Fu on the NES. This came much later into the NES life cycle. I couldn't possibly put a date on it, but I remember sitting on this high top bed with a step cousin of mine. He was playing through and we were trying to get to the very last level, level 5 of course. Very difficult game. I don't even think I could beat the first freaking level back in the day. But nonetheless, Kung Fu on the NES was an absolute blinder. As you know, huge Turtles fan, got my tattoo, got loads of stuff here in the Lady Lounge. In fact, I'm reading this Turtles comic at the minute from the 90s. Now, the Turtles arcade game was another one that was incredibly popular for me. Again, my cousin had it. I used to play it on the arcade itself. It really, really is an absolute blast. Of course, we have the arcade one-up Turtles cab over in the corner of the Lady Lounge there. It really was an amazing experience. And it wasn't just the arcade game either, it was this game. Bit difficult again, but I really enjoyed that top-down overworld, and then you go down into the sewers and it was just this side scroller. I was mesmerised, and as much as a lot of people out there, like I'm a video game nerd, bash the game for being difficult, I'm sorry. I have so much nostalgia for that game. I literally don't know what to say. So I don't think there's anything that I don't like about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So those two games on the NES also helped carve me into the gamer that I am today. Now, what about some of the other classics on the NES? Okay, I own this, but I absolutely love Contra. It was my first introduction to the series. Everything from the music, the popping of the pixels, it really did work, and I think it's an NES classic. The merging of two classic franchises next, again a famed game on the glorious NES. An underrated platformer here with some Darkwing Duck. We never had access to skate parks back in my day. We used to make our own mud ramps, and I think that was the appeal of playing this and being able to live out your weird BMX fantasies. 1987 packed a punch with some glorious Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, beating the crap out of each other for days. Known as street gangs here in PAL regions, this had some nice RPG elements to it while still adopting cool gameplay from the likes of Double Dragon. 6 acts and 20 levels packed full of ninja crawling fun, what with cool platforming elements very reminiscent of the likes of Shinobi. You get these gorgeous little cutscenes in between. This is a great all-rounder. Rad Racer up next. Outrun it is not, but still really cool. A bit of vertical platforming with Ice Climber, meandering your way vertically through ice, collecting and revealing and stealing back the vegetables. Isometric racing at its finest. You can fire things and win races, and it's really fun to play. Next up, an underrated gem, Toxic Crusaders, again a side-scrolling beat-em-up platform game, which is very reminiscent of the Streets of Rage Double Dragon-esque kind of era, and definitely one you should be checking out. And let's not forget Duck Hunt. My brother, when he finally got his own NES, we would play the shizzle out of Mario Brothers as well as Duck Hunt. Of course, CRT Classic, I actually think he had a black and white TV when we started playing the NES. We'd play Terminator, we'd play Mario Brothers, Mario 3, in fact Mario 2 as well. We would play so much on that black and white TV. We used to turn the dial to like tune in the channels if you wanted to watch TV. It was that freaking old. And I'm talking, this was the 90s and he was still using a black and white TV. So I actually have a lot of memories playing the NES on a black and white television. Crazy, I know, but it did happen. So there, you've seen my 78 game NES collection. I've talked about some of my early games. I've talked about some of the classic games. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have, please subscribe and leave a like, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers!